Welcome to Take What Rings True. So, this site is for spiritual thoughts and take what rings true to you and let the rest go. My name is Teresa Micheletti, and I do a spiritual broadcast every Wednesday at this time. So, today I want to talk about exit points. So, we have chances that we have scheduled into our life. When we write our life chart, we write a life chart and put some experiences you want to have, and you include 5 exit points. So you could have an exit point when you were a baby. You could have 2 exit points when you're 7, and then maybe the next one's not till you're 30. So I bet you can identify some possible exit points that you bypassed, like a car accident or a surgery or a high temperature. Or maybe your exit was not evident. Maybe you did not take a car ride, or you drove a different way to work and you missed being in an accident. Your subconscious or your higher self, your soul, decides to take advantage of an exit point or not. So we consciously probably aren't aware of it, but unconsciously you're aware of it. So a few examples. I had a student who, when he was in high school, was going to go to a neighboring town with 4 of his friends, and he decided not to go. And everyone perished in that accident except him because he did not go. There was a famous jumbo jet accident, a Detroit jumbo jet, where everyone in the plane died except for a toddler. A friend of mine was supposed to be on that plane, but obviously they did not take that exit point. As an aside, whenever there's a big accident like that, spirit guides told us that Jesus walked through the middle of the plane saying, "Come with me, come with me, come with me," to the spirits, the souls, the people who were going to perish in that accident. But their soul had left before the plane crashed. So, just as an aside, in 9/11, you hear about people who were late to work that day and missed the planes crashing, or decided to go to the dentist that day, or took a day off that day. So all of those people chose not to take that exit point. It was an opportunity for them to exit this life, an escape valve, an escape hatch, and they chose not to take it. They had more to do. So I know I had one evident exit point because I was in a little sports car and this guy ran the stop sign and crashed into me. And if I had not really cranked the wheel in my little sports car, he would have like just totaled me out. Instead, he totaled the back quarter panel. But after that, it's like it was a crossroads. After that, then that's when I met one of my best friends and actually became more acquainted with them. And we started going to lectures and things that were more spiritual, joined Sylvia Brown's church, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you have choices in life, and you've written in 5 exit points. One time, spirit guide Francine described our lives as having the same phases that Christ's life had, or the Bible explains. We all go through good times and bad times. So you might describe some of your times as the Garden of Eden or Heaven, the Garden of Eden or Heaven. And other times you might describe as purgatory or hell. Well, Christ's life had despair and triumph and Passover and his time in the desert, his time of rebirth and resurrection. We all have ups and downs, and we choose when to exit. Now, suicide is very controversial, but my belief from what I learned about from spirit guides is that it's not an exit point. It seems to be a fluke. It's like some people write it in, and it's not really written into a chart. Since it's not planned, suicide creates a void where a person was scheduled to interact with you and now is missing. So maybe they were supposed to be with you in a life lesson. Maybe they were supposed to be your partner. Maybe they were supposed to be your teacher. Maybe they were supposed to teach you how to do something. And then they're missing in your life. And whatever that was that they were supposed to interact with now is not happening. So often when people die of suicide, you feel a lot differently than when a relative dies normally, because it's like taking things out of your chart. You have big holes and voids in your chart. So, the saying, seek and you will find. Okay. So, if you feel like, oh, I'm probably going to die in the next 5 years, that doesn't mean you should just stop learning and stop seeking. This earth is like a giant classroom. And I believe we share our experiences with Source, with God, with the universe, whatever you want to call the creator or the creation side of things. And that's the reason that we come to Earth. And this is probably not the most positive planet, yet it's the best place to come to perfect our soul the fastest. So, not everyone's allowed to come to Earth. You have to be brave to come here. So, the suggestion is take life and experience with both hands and get the most out of it you can. It's an opportunity. One life on Earth has been compared to 120 lives on another planet. So try reprogramming your mind. A spirit guide, Francine, told us that we do not have scheduled in our life chart that we're supposed to have all these diseases. Now, you could have written in a major experience, like you're going to have MS, or you're going to have cerebral palsy, or you're going to have Lou Gehrig's disease. That's a life condition experience. But most of us do not have that written into our chart. And it's not written in that we are supposed to have all these diseases. Of course, you might write in something, a way of dying. You might write in a disease or an illness as a way of dying, but you can reprogram. So program yourself and think of saying that you're going to be in reasonably good health all of your life. You're going to just die in your sleep. Take a breath and die. That you don't have to go through all these yucky diseases. So if you've written it in, fine. If you haven't written it in, then don't expect it. Stop expecting a horrible disease at the end of your life. Stop expecting to be miserable and in pain. Sometimes we take an early exit point, and then after we get to the other side, we feel unfulfilled, and we end up coming back into another life to engage in the missed experiences. If you have a period of time in which you're supposed to die, then say you want to die at 82. You have a choice of extending that. If you want to stay longer in life, you can say 7 more years, 15 more years. I remember Sylvia's dad, I think, said 17 more years. So you can go later, you can go earlier. So program for what you want. You know how people have cancer and then they go into remission? Often they live 7 more years, 15 more years, because that was their chosen exit point, but they chose not to take it. Now, other people, they weren't scheduled to have cancer, and so they go into remission and they stay in remission. or they live beyond the 15 years. So you have a choice in your life. You have choices. So don't accept illnesses. If you wrote it in and you know it's a big one like MS or CP, then okay. But you can still modify that and soften it. But illnesses like the flu, you don't have to have those. Program yourself not to have them. And if you get it, then program yourself to have it for 1 day, for 3 days, and let it go. Don't accept it as a given that you're going to be miserable, that you're going to have yucky diseases, that don't listen to the news and commercials on television. It's flu season and expect to get the flu. Just because they say it's flu season doesn't mean you have to have the flu. Doctors tell you, oh, this runs in your family, diabetes or whatever. You don't have to accept that. My friend Sylvia would say, tell them you're adopted. So it runs in your family, but you're not going to get it because you're adopted. So reprogram yourself. You can live to be 95 or 100 or whatever it is. Program for what you want. So you have 5 exit points that you've scattered through your life. Now you can have like 3 of them before you're 4 years old. They're not scheduled in even increments. So how do you want to live your life? What do you expect? If it's an exit point, you can take it or not take it. But there are 5 opportunities for you to exit this life with permission, as they say. And you can shift it. You can go a little bit earlier, you can go a little bit later. And program so that you have an easy exit. My friend Sylvia Brown always planned her grand exit. She wasn't afraid of dying, and you shouldn't be either. And she always wanted like a Pegasus and an entourage and a welcome. All of us get a welcome. All of us are met on the other side by our loved ones, our friends, and they sing our tone. We each have our own special tone. But you can program for what you want. Do you want to be met with a golden chariot? Then program for that. They can arrange that. What do you want your grand exit to be? So think about it. And don't be afraid of death. If you talk to anyone who's had a near death experience, they feel such love. They feel wonder. They don't want to leave. And usually they're told, it's not your time, go back. Now, true, some people with near death experiences describe hell. That's because they've gone into the lower level. And I've talked about that before. They expect a hell, so that's what they get. They go to the lower level where all thoughts are things, and they access that area where there's thoughts of negative things. If you expect it, you are so powerful, you're a creator. So, since you're a creator, create a wonderful, grand last exit, and it can be arranged. And also program for what kind of exit you want. Do you want to just go to sleep and not wake up? Do you just want to take a breath and exit? Those things are possible. And stop expecting to have a yucky disease or a yucky illness at the end. Don't program for that. Program for something easy, something wonderful. So think about that today. How do you want to exit? And your cause of death, what do you want that to be? I think just like going to sleep and not waking up would be good. Or just taking a breath and going through the tunnel that forms from you. Either one of those would be fine with me. I haven't really planned my grand exit, but I'm going to think about it. So, thank you for joining me today. You can join every Wednesday at this time. For me, it's 10 a.m. Pacific time. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate your comments, and thank you. See you next Wednesday.